Hey there, welcome to the Gyro Step Milwaukee Bucks podcast, probably a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN. I am TyTy Windisch, one of your hosts, joined as always by the best Rohan Katti. Rohan, sir, happy Monday. We are recording on Monday morning. How's it going?
I'm glad you asked, Ty, because I'm actually doing incredible. I did not prep you for this at all, but I have something I need to show the viewers.
Oh my God!
And it is something that it is now one of my most prized possessions.
Oh
wow! It is something that you will know right away why it means so much to me.
Oh no!
Okay, give me a guess.
Is it the backpack?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you had the 20G backpack.
No, it is a signed Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh my God!
Card.
How did you acquire that?
eBay.
Oh,
eBay.
Wow!
For the podcast listeners, it is the 2021 Panini Trophy Collections.
Wow! It looks super holographic.
It is, yeah. And for the YouTube
couple
viewers,
pictures of TA. They were smart to get a big close up of his face. TA is a good looking guy. I feel like that really adds a lot to the card.
Oh yeah, and the signature makes it look like he just wrote down Ray, which is fine. But
Giannis Ray Antetokounmpo, everyone calls him that.
No, it does look like just Ray.
It does look like Ray. Oh man!
But yeah, I've had this. I've been sitting on this, and I needed to make sure everyone saw it.
Wow, that's awesome. Is that PSA 10? You should get it graded.
I should get it graded.
To get it full slab. Yeah, it is full slab TA card.
But yeah, that is I needed.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to start a pod that we have a lot of. I don't know. I don't think it's really all negative, despite the first pun in the title here. But we have a lot to get through, and I actually, before we get to Dame, which of course Lame Time is a reference to the way Dame has played for especially lately, much of the season. I want to talk Doc Rivers first and just kind of reconvene on that. Overall, I feel like it's been fine. I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on this. He hasn't played the young guys much. We will talk about AJ Green, who has been the big Cali Rivers, maybe Cali Rivers Curry now, apparently is an AJ Green fan, and that's working out very, very well for him, which is good for AJ Green. He's played quite well as well. But the young guys haven't played almost at all, especially Marjan and Ajax, which is not ideal, but we have gotten quotes from Doc about kind of he knows the vets more from coaching against them, and he wants to get a better idea of what the young guys do. He's been in charge for 4 games now, right? 4 or 5 at most a week, like not very much. So, if it's the rest of the whole season like this, I think I'll be more upset. Right now, it's like, yeah, I'd like to see him a little more, but I'm not. It's not the end of the world for me. Otherwise, though, I feel like the concepts he's been instilling are working pretty well. They've been much better defensively and just solid. I think the offensive process looks very good in most games. They just haven't had. They've had a pretty poor shot making week since Doc took over, which has cost them in really all of these games. I mean, their losses have been close. Their wins have been the Mavs win was somehow ended up being convincing after being down 25 points in the first quarter. But I just want to see if you have any big thoughts. I mean, of course, this is a huge story. We were all over it during the process. We had to cope about the news. We were in denial. So far, I've been yeah, I feel like they're a more respectable basketball team. I see what he's doing, and I like most of it outside of the young guys stuff, which, again, we'll see if that continues to change. AJ Green led the bench in minutes against Utah, so it's not like none of the young guys are playing at all, but just wanted your, I guess, updated Doc thoughts before we get going and all this exciting trades, everything, and lose sight of it.
It's just sort of, in my opinion, the Doc Rivers experience has just been it's happened. It's not. I think we're still too early in the process. We've had 1 game, and that's or 2 games, excuse me, the Dallas game and the Utah game, where it comes actually after a practice. So they have 2 games under their belt after actually getting a practice in with their new head coach and Doc Rivers. So I think it's still very, very early in the process to be able to really discern much of anything. I mean, I guess we've gotten a lot of just new rotational stuff. We've gotten new defensive stuff, but some new offensive stuff as well. But we're just a lot of the flaws about this Milwaukee Bucks team comes from its roster construction, which is the hill that or especially I've been on about the Bucks and their struggles this season. Is just been it's a combination of everything, of course, coaching something, but a lot of it's on roster construction and the way this team is put together. It's not really ideally built team for the players that they have, for Giannis and Dame, obviously Chris, Brooke, those guys as well. But it's just I still think it's too early. My thoughts are just sort of I still have these existential crises of, oh my God, Doc Rivers coaches this basketball team and all that, but we shall see in the coming games and after the trade deadline especially.
Only one more game until it. Late Tuesday night against the Phoenix Suns, which I think will be a good game. I think Phoenix has had a pretty weird year, all told, and I'm hoping for just some good basketball in that one. But yeah, I think that's fair enough on Doc. So yeah, we don't have to do several minutes on what we've seen so far. I think the emphasis on Giannis and Dame is the right thing to do, and I think we've seen it pay off in some respects. We've seen Giannis have some incredible games, and just a quick Giannis check-in: career high 31.3 points per game this season, career high 6.4 assists per game. That's the thing that stood out. January 2024 was Giannis' highest assist per game month of his career. Looks like he's coming for it again in February. He had 10 assists in the third quarter, I believe, against the Mavericks. He piled up assists as well. He's been doing a lot of playmaking. Seems like operating from the elbows, maybe more of an emphasis, and operating offense from there. It feels like Giannis has had less possessions where he gets the ball, above the free throw line, we'll say, and just drives. There's been a lot more of what we talked about early in the year. We talked about it more with pick and roll, but the patient Giannis plays. Wait a minute, the defense will do something. When they do it, then move, and you get the advantage. I mean, there were possessions against the Jazz where they send the help, and Lauri Markkanen is like shambling on over to Giannis, and Giannis says, "Oh, there's the wide open. I'll throw it to that shooter then. This is very easy. I'll throw it to this shooter then." They had no answer. Although the Bucks did end up losing that game just because, frankly, I think because Milwaukee ran out of gas. But Giannis also 11.4 rebounds, a combined 2.5 steals and blocks, which is one of the highest numbers of his career. It's since like pre-2020, he had a couple really loaded seasons in that, but it's among the best marks he's had over the last 4 years here. Giannis has just been incredible. I just wanted to touch on that. Also, a career high 61.3% from the field. Despite shooting almost 2 threes per game at a much lower clip, I won't even say it out of respect to Giannis, 25.6. Just an incredible season. He's been more dominant than ever, and I think, if nothing else, that's an encouraging point for Bucks fans.
For sure. The reason that this Bucks team is where they are is because of Giannis. Like, no matter what sort of offensive, defensive, schematic struggles that they've had, roster issues like I talked about, no matter what, they're always going to be a good team and in every single game because of that man, because of Giannis Antetokounmpo. So he's on another level this season, like you were talking about. You can say that statistically. You can say that just by watching the games as well. It's just ridiculous to watch. Like 65% on twos is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous on that sort of volume. It's never been really done before. So first, I believe he's going to on pace to be the first guy who's averaging over 30 a game on over 60% from the field.
Yep.
So that's pretty good.
It's not bad. At least, does Wilt ever do that?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Wilt
was bricking?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was.
Oh, okay. Interestingly, I just have his stats up on NBA Stats. A pretty even plus minus to the last 2 years for how the Bucks have fared with him on the court. This is not advanced. This is just raw plus minus. But 5.8 per game plus 5.8, of course, this season. Plus only 5.4 last season and 5.9 the year before. So I feel like, and there were some of the earlier, but the year when they killed everyone before the pandemic, Giannis's plus minus was plus 10.8 per game. I mean, that team was just on a whole nother level. I think memories of those teams is why it's been particularly difficult to enjoy this Bucks team as much because obviously there's been many downs along with the ups. But it is interesting to me that they've won Giannis's minutes in roughly the same amount of points, although he does play a couple more minutes, so maybe that explains why it hasn't necessarily felt the same so far. Okay, let's talk about Dame, Rohan. I think it is maybe like the biggest conversation we can have. I mean, you mentioned, the roster not fitting well. I think that is a good point as well, and it's something that I've also said, and I agree with you on. I mean, how many losses this Bucks season are wins if Dame just plays like anything close to the Dame that we had seen for the 10 years before this one? More than 2. That's for sure.
I'd say so.
Last night was another one. Certainly, there's one at least I can name very specifically, the Utah game where I think the Bucks were running out of gas. Utah, who had not played since Thursday, another home game for them. The Bucks were second night of a road back-to-back at elevation on the road trip, all the stuff, but played incredible for 3 quarters and just lost the plot in the fourth. Needed someone to step up and hit a shot. No Chris Middleton, no Brook Lopez. So obviously it wasn't going to be either of those guys. And Dame just could not do it. Had another just really bad shooting night. Sometimes I think overall his defense has been okay, but sometimes it does feel like the frustration of either not getting calls or not hitting shots can carry over to that end. On the season, still averaging 24.9 points, 6.8 assists, and 4.2 rebounds, but shooting just 42.5% from the field and 34.7% from 3. 47 games in. It's just not good enough, not what the Bucks certainly hoped for when they traded for Dame. Obviously, we're both disappointed. I have thought that, the new emphasis on him with the ball more and actually getting screened for, it did work against Dallas. I counted 5 different Bucks players set screens for him in that game as he was 10 for 11, but did not carry over to the Utah game. I mean, what is your concern level like for Dame going forward and in the playoffs? Because clearly, he's had great moments this season, but on the whole, in the aggregate, has not been what we had hoped for when the Bucks swung that trade.
I think it's what I'm concerned about, and what the issue is that large for me is just a consistency issue, because we've seen that he's capable. Like, just take this back to back, for instance. In that Dallas game, he's on another level. He looks better than the guy you ideally traded for. I mean, what does he do in that game? He has 30 points on 10 of 11 from the field, and then just the next night, you just you put up 12 points on 18 shots. It's just a consistency thing, because we've seen these great games from Damian Lillard this season, but we've also seen these not great games from Damian Lillard. It's a consistency thing that's really an issue for me. It's what can you expect from him on a night-to-night basis? Not really like, hey, are you capable of doing this? Because we know he's capable of doing this, and it's not just there's 10 years of experience of him doing this. No, we've literally seen him do this in a Bucks uniform. Put up great shooting numbers, have incredible games where he looks like one of the best players in the world. We've seen that. We've seen that while he's been a member of the Bucks. But we're not seeing it every night. We're not seeing it every night, and I don't know necessarily what it will take to get him to play that level of basketball on a nightly basis. Not even that level of basketball, just like maybe take it down a notch, but you're doing that consistently. I don't know what it's going to take, because this is really unprecedented for Damian Lillard. This is not something where you would say, oh yeah, Dame's just this guy, he's kind of wishy-washy, he does this now and then. That's just not who he is. That's not who he's been throughout his career. So to say, oh, what's the solution to just be having Damian Lillard play like Damian Lillard every game? I don't know, because he has the ball in his hands a lot more, like you mentioned. He has like more of a control over the offense than he has. He's playing well defensively. Like he's not really just letting guys get past him. He's fighting on the defensive end. So I don't know necessarily what it is. This is really confusing for me. It truly is, because like you mentioned, this is not what we really expected when the Bucks swung for the fences and completed this trade. And to be clear, I still think it's an amazing trade, and I think it's going to pay off, because in the playoffs, his game just takes new heights more than what he puts up in the regular season, which is already like an incredible bar. But which is to say, I'm not really too worried, like I started off this rant by saying, but it's concerning. It's concerning because you can just see, like I mentioned earlier, in just this 2-game sample, you can see the highs and you can see the lows, and without really anything changing too much in terms of like his role, his amount of touches, all of that stuff. So it's a little concerning to me. It's a little concerning, and especially because there's only, what is there? That was game 50, so there's only 32 more games left in this regular season. There's not too much time to be able to tune it up.
Yeah, in the post-Adrian Griffin era, which is now 7 games of Milwaukee Bucks basketball, 3 for Joe Prunty, 4 for Doc Rivers, Dame shot 38% against Cleveland, 29% against Cleveland, 50% against the Pelicans, 38% in Denver, 39% in Portland, 90% in Dallas, and then 27.8% in Utah. So yeah, literally, like I think it's not really a topic of convo if Dame shoots 60% against Dallas and then like 45, 50% against 3 other teams. Like just distribute that a little better. It would be nice to see kind of a trend going up with, again, the changes. I know Doc just got in, but hopefully we do see that. I know Dame has talked about like his personal life has been very trying and difficult, going through his divorce that's been pretty publicized now and everything, and being away from family in Portland, and certainly understand and emphasize with that. However, like still just need, I think it's fine to give the guys some grace. It's also not unfair to say just not playing at a high enough standard, certainly for the amount of shots he continues to take. So hope everything is going as well as possible for him and they're able to find some, more time to spend with family and all these things. Also hoping that he can just really get back to something close to the level that we're used to seeing. I mean, I really don't think he's like physically cooked. I mean, he's dunked twice in the last week. Like, I think it still looks like Dame. I just think something is not there.
Dealing with an ankle tweak.
Yeah, also as well. He kind of re-aggravated it against Utah. I think he had been dealing with it earlier. The numbers are kind of similar to that injury season a couple years ago. So I am hoping that, playing in the fake game, but otherwise the All-Star break maybe can be good for him just to take some time off. I have heard from Portland people that like Dame is not one who ever wants to miss games. So he may be playing through the ankle and who knows what else. He's taken a lot of contact and shots this year. So hopefully he can take some time around All-Star and then maybe come back a little refreshed as well. The Bucks schedule these next couple of weeks. I kind of hope he gets a day off as well, just to kind of help with all this, because they have back-to-backs at the end of this week, early next week.
I think it's in an 18-day stretch. They have 4 back-to-backs.
We just did one of them?
Yeah.
Or 2 of them? There's been 2 since Jan 26th. Yeah, so they have. It's literally, I think it's like Friday, Saturday, and then they're off 2 days, and then Monday, Tuesday, or something.
Yeah. So they have a Thursday, Friday,
off 2 days. That's it.
Against the Wolves and the Hornets, and then a Monday, Tuesday back-to-back against the Nuggets and the Heat.
Disgusting.
Which is just horrible. At least they're all at home.
This has been a brutal part of the schedule.
It is. It truly has. But at least all 4 of those games are at home.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Dame just has to be better. I mean, I see so much like, they're cooked. He's washed. He's not the guy. The trade is a loss, whatever. And I understand why people have these strong reactions. We just have so much history of Dame being awesome. He scored 70 points in a game last season. His numbers were incredible for the whole last regular season. I don't think he looks like a significantly different player. I think sometimes he does look just to be a little like moving gingerly. I think he's taken a lot of contact and not gotten a lot of calls this year. The shooting has just not been good enough. I'm still just optimistic he's going to figure it out and pick it up because he's Damian Lillard. Like they didn't go get like Jalen Green, right? They didn't go get an unproven player and hope. They got Dame. Like, I just think he's going to be Dame. I think he's going to figure it out. It's been a big adjustment. And I understand people are sick of waiting. I mean, I am too. I called the pod lame time. This has been very lame, but still, I'm a believer that the talent is there, that this team will figure things out, starting first and foremost with Damian Lillard.
It's also, this is not the time to judge the trade as well, because you don't get Damian Lillard to put up regular season wins. You get Damian Lillard to put up postseason wins. I mean, we've had the last couple, like Drew Holiday was an all-star last season in terms of like his regular season performance, and that's not how you want to judge a player. You judge a player based on their postseason performance, and not to just dog on Drew Holiday, but it's the postseason what was the issue, not the regular season. So the regular season is not where you judge the Damian Lillard trade. It's the postseason.
Very good point, Rohan. What else sticks out about this team and the players? We'll do a little trade deadline. We'll do some Wisconsin Herd stuff. But I have a disconcerting stat.
Let's hear it.
So remember, I said
night of September.
Always. But also, remember when I said people will use the Jay Crowder net rating against him from early in the year, even though it was really good? Or he was really good, it was bad, but it wasn't his fault from watching those games. I saw a tweet to that regard, and I was going to jump in and say, I think it's really noisy because actually he was awesome in the first however many games and just was on bad units. He has not been awesome since returning, and the number is the same, and I actually give credence to this one. In these 7 games, I'll just use the 7. They're all bad, but in the 7 games post Griffin, in 161 minutes, the Bucks have a net rating of minus 12.6 with Jay Crowder on the court. They have just gotten killed. He has not shot the ball well. He has shot the ball a lot. He has shot the ball a lot. He has taken many, 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 many shots, made very, very, very few of them. And they are plus 14 when he is off. That is nearly 27 points per 100 possessions swing in Jay Crowder off to on. Of course, second to only Bobby Portis, who is 30.2 swing from on to off, which means the Bucks are losing his minutes by 13 points per 100 possessions, blowing teams out. 17.2 net rating in all non-Bobby Portis minutes over the last 7 games. I mean, it's striking. Pat Connaughton is dropping off a little bit of that. He's still minus 10 swing, minus 5.9 on, plus 5.2 off. We know the whole bench has been bad, and these numbers reflect that. But Bobby is singularly at the top with Crowder now right behind him. It's been tough.
It's been really tough, and I'm glad you pointed out that it seems like it's just a bench issue.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of times you see these bench units and you see Jay Crowder out there with Bobby Portis. You see these weird lineups, and just any of these bench guys just doing anything is just a revelation. Like, we'll talk about AJ Green in a little bit, but you see AJ Green come in and do something, you're like, oh my God, you can do this? Like, that's allowed?
Are they allowed to not just get blitzed right now?
Yeah, it's crazy when a bench guy actually does something.
I will say this. In the Utah game, Bobby and Jay were not on the bench unit. Pat Connaughton plus 11, AJ Green plus 3, Cameron Payne plus 6. It's one game, single game plus minus. Now, I'm sure all the people who do, I see way too many like, this player was this last night. How can this stand? Like, you can't feel that strongly on. But I'm sure all these accounts were like, the best one was Pat plus 11. We just don't share anything from this game. We just can't share any stats from this game. But I do. It is like, you put them with the good players, and it's still a pretty bad result. Even though Bobby had an incredible game, still had a horrible plus minus to get probably all the fourth quarter. But yeah, it is. We need a refresh of this team.
The bench needs changing. It really does. Because it's just untenable. You have an entire 50 games worth of sample up to this point.
Yeah.
Where you just see consistently the bench just getting killed, no matter what combination, whether you want to just go to an 8-man rotation and just play Jay, Bobby, and like Campaign or Pat, one of those two. Or if you go to like a 10-man rotation, or and see Campaign / Pat and then AJ Green in there. It's just a lot of just consistent bad basketball, bad play, just these guys getting killed out there. And it's untenable. It really is untenable. You need some sort of injection of fresh talent, or just talent.
Yeah, they can be old at this point. I'm not picky anymore. Just players who
They're
can
already
play.
old.
Yeah. Pat scored 1 point in 18 and a half minutes.
Incredible.
1 for 4 on free throws.
Just incredible. You would think Pat Connaughton would be a good free throw shooter.
I think he has not 25% level for his career. There's some listeners who are mad at me for ragging on Pat too much. Listen, I just need something to happen. He actually had a decent game against Utah. This isn't that game in particular, but over the course of just not enough things happening. You need to accomplish things.
You need to do something.
Not giving out the Tony Snell Legacy Award. Unfortunately, Tony Snell did not get signed before
I know
the deadline.
So
that sucked. But AJ Green, though, this is irresponsible to even share. But in the post Adrian Griffin era, 33 total minutes. Bucks have a plus 13.8 net rating with AJ Green on the court. They have played extremely well in AJ's minutes, capped off by getting a run against the Mavs. Doc's daughter, that's why I mentioned Callie Rivers Curry. I don't know if that's what she actually goes by, but she was Callie Rivers. Now she's Seth Curry's wife. Mentioned that AJ Green can play, and then he played a lot the next game, so clearly impressing Doc Rivers' daughter is the way onto the rotation. AJ Green in nearly 22 minutes.
Did it work for Seth Curry?
I'd have to look it up. I would imagine Seth Curry played.
I know, it's just very funny.
I know. I'll leave it. 10 points for AJ Green, 5 rebounds, 2 fouls, no turnovers, 3 for 6 from the field, all threes, plus he knocked down his 1 free throw, and just looks very sound out there. Every time he gets run, you're just like, oh, actually, he just defended Jordan Clarkson extremely well and forced him to take the ball back out to the perimeter or forced a bad pass. And, Colin Sexton, he kind of got – I actually thought there was going to be a steal in there too. I thought at one point he managed to swipe the ball away from Sexton on a drive, but contained drives very well, continues to be a good passer, had a beautiful corner pocket pick and roll pass to Robin Lopez of all people that, of course, did not end up rewarding him with an assist. Robin 0 for 2 in 4 minutes. He played 4 minutes in back-to-back games. I don't want to talk about Robin Lopez anymore, but AJ
I will
Green,
say Doc Rivers after the game was like, yeah, maybe I could have played Robin a little more.
I was like, oh, maybe not. Actually, get back to him, Brooke. Hope everything's going well.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded some more Robin Lopez in that Utah game.
When they put him in is when the first lead fell apart.
But it also fell apart without Robin Lopez. At least if you get Robin Lopez in there, I'm telling you what, man, he might be the best screen setter on the team.
He probably is.
That dude's wide.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've never said he's not big.
That dude's a big dude.
I hope we never see him in the first 3 quarters.
He should try cutting his hair.
Yeah, what if it's weighing him down? There's a lot of air resistance.
It might be.
Can we run the physics on that?
Sure. Let me just do that real quick.
You should present how much faster he could be just by cutting the hair. Both less weight and less wind resistance, less drag on his head. Clearly it works for Brooke.
Yeah, maybe that's why Brooke's able to get back on defense.
See?
Yeah. But Robin Lopez, unfortunately, had his patented hook shot just absolutely stuffed.
Who was that, Kessler?
Yeah,
oh
Kessler,
my God.
Walker Kessler, and it's like, oh my God. If you can't do that, what
isn't the whole point of that shot that at least won't get blocked? That's the whole reason you do that. It's supposed to be a not blockable shot, and it was very blockable when he tried Kessler. It was very
blockable because he had the release point past his head.
Yeah.
He brought it so far
He does shoot them kind of weird like that.
It's not a true hook shot.
No, it's more of something. It's like a
push shot.
Yeah, it was
that he
almost
does sideways.
Yeah, I'm messing up my camera focus here, but it's almost like part of a what's the thing where you throw the heavy thing? Shot put. It almost looks like it's part of a shot put or something.
It does a little bit, but hey, maybe we're gonna see more Rolo if Brooke is out. Hope all is well with Brooke.
Yeah.
But maybe I joked before the Mavs game, like, hey, maybe Doc's still getting to know the lay of the land, getting to know these players. Maybe he thought it's just Brook. He's just wearing a wig.
At least for 4 minutes each game, he did. He might have. And he's like,
that. Oh wait, no, that's Robin.
No.
let's get him out.
Only 2 shots in 4 minutes. That can't be Brook. That's what he would say.
Oh man, I want it to be tea time so bad.
I know. I thought he was really going to make I think his second shot was the 3. I was like, oh, I think that looks pretty good actually. But alas. All right,
but AJ Green. AJ Green.
Talk about AJ Green.
AJ Green looks solid. It's nice to see bench players actually going out there and doing something. He'll put up shots for sure. He had an audacious heat check in that Utah game, that like a 30-footer that he put down, and it's just it's great to see. It's great to see people actually, taking advantage of that GSPN bump.
Need TyTy to get his opportunity. He's ready.
Yeah,
Let's go with the herd. We'll talk about it. Let's talk trades because we need it. I need it carnally. I have been counting down the amount of games I have to watch this version of the Bucks, and I'm so glad we're done. Well, actually, it's probably 2. I mean, the Timberwolves game is after the deadline, but we're not going to see any moves. Is there the possibility for some addition by subtraction for that game? Absolutely there is, because there are players on this team who are just driving me crazy, Rohan. I will say, you know what would be a fun exercise? Real fast. We've done this before. Let's do the truncated circle of trust game. Let's just go down so Giannis, yes, we can. That's easy. I don't know if there's another for sure one after that. Dame, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say
he's hurt me, but I believe still.
I believe.
Chriss for sure.
Yep.
People have been out. I don't care. You got to trust Chriss.
He's looked really well.
Leading the NBA in mid-range field goal percentage.
It's 50-something%.
Yeah, 57, I think. He's been crazy. Automatic.
Ridiculous.
And the 3-point percentage is rising too. I don't think I have it in front of me.
And his defensive play is trending upwards as well.
They're using him to guard players on purpose sometimes. I'm always a little shocked when that happens.
I'm like, oh man, that's a decision. And it's like, yeah, good decision.
It kind of worked out.
He's big. He's 6'9", isn't he?
6'8".
I've been begging Chriss to play like he's 6'8" for years now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if the day Chris Middleton realizes he's 6'8" is the day it's over.
Dude, he's going to be like a center by the time he's 40. Imagine Chriss in the G League playing center at like 38.
I can see it.
I hope it doesn't come to that for him. Yeah, I just
don't. It won't.
No.
Chris is not going to go back and play in the G League.
No, I don't think so.
He's made so much money. He's made multiple All-Star teams. Like,
yeah,
he's not going to do it.
I mean, there's other players who have done who have had similar 100%. Careers and done that. I don't think Chris
like Kenneth Faried is absolutely killing it.
Manimal.
Yeah,
kind of a weird nickname. Anyway, we can't get Brook Lopez. I say yes.
I say yes.
He frustrates me with the shots. I think the defense looks really good now that they're playing a more functional defense. Which basically, for anyone who's wondering, like, what's the difference? And the defensive rating has been top 10, I believe, since moving on from Griffin in that span. They're just conservative. They're going under screens. They're kind of doing the KYP, know your personnel, know who to let shoot and who to not. But really, they're just like taking away the rim again and kind of taking away threes when they can from there. And it's working. If you can't score at the rim at all, it's hard to sustain good offense, and that's what's happening. Malik Beasley, I say yes for sure.
I say yes.
More tepid.
He's been playing really well. I mean, it's tough for me to say yes to like a definitive yes for anyone outside of the core four.
I trust Malik Beasley.
I trust Malik Beasley too. He is a gamer.
He made Sexton flop after Sexton tried to taunt Giannis for an offensive foul, which is like the lamest thing you can do.
It's just like, have some self-respect, or self-awareness. Like, why are you taunting someone after elbowing them in the face?
It's a guy known for rocking a rat tail. I feel like we can't expect too much. Former future Buck Colin Sexton.
Watch this space.
Okay, so we've got a lot of yeses then in the starters.
That's it for me.
Not AJ Green?
No.
Yeah,
I just haven't.
Is it just incomplete?
It's incomplete. Like,
for all the young guys, incomplete for them.
Yeah, we haven't.
You're not saying no. You're not saying I'm out. You're just saying I can't trust them. Trust them.
Exactly. I'm not going to get those are the only 5 that I'm trusting.
Not TA?
No, I can't. Again, incomplete.
Wow.
I trust TA enough to have this signed basketball.
I was going to say, I can't believe you just didn't say yes. This is off brand for you.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's a great looking card. What does it say on there? Does it put stats on there?
No. It does on the back.
The stats on there? What does it say?
It's part of
did it put his per 48 minutes on there?
No, it says Giannis Antetokounmpo with only 8 available players. The shorthanded Bucks battled the Knicks down to the wire on March 27th, 2021. Antetokounmpo was the driving force behind Milwaukee's valiant effort as he scored a career-high 23 points, grabbed a career-high 10 rebounds, and dished a career-high 5 assists.
Does it say the score of the game?
No.
Oh, man. They did him so dirty. I mean, I guess that's the best.
What's wrong with that?
Like, no one was available to play, but Thanasis did in late March. Oh, and shout out to Thanasis. Career highs are career highs. Rank these players in order of how much you do trust them. Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, Cameron Payne. Jay Crowder.
Pat. Bobby Cam.
Oh, I'm going to shock the world.
You're going to say Pat first.
He's up there. Like, I almost have him and Crowder tied right now. Crowder, obviously, I trust more on defense than any of the rest of these players, and that's probably why he's either first or tied first for both of us. The offense, it's not just he's just been, like, dumb. He's, like, taking all these step backs. Like, stop doing that.
He's at a quick trigger on his threes.
And, like, that's fine if it's a catch and shoot. Like, he'll catch, dribble, go around a half. It's like, dude, Dame is right. I know Dame hasn't played that great, but it's like, come on, man. I wonder if that's the reason. Everyone's like, yeah, if he's not making it, why not? I'll shoot it. Dame's not. I saw Brooke take a step back with the game on the line. I'll do it, too. I would say, yeah, it's probably like those 2 players very close for me, Crowder and Pat. I've been railing on Pat for not doing enough. Also, I just feel like the whole bench has sucked, so it's a low standard here. And I think he's mostly like I'll say Crowder then Pat. Here's the distinction: like when they ask Pat to guard a guard on the perimeter, it's just curtains. Like they're just at the rim immediately, like no resistance. They just go around him. It's the Maginot line. Did you get that reference?
No.
The French dug trenches at the start of World War II, thinking it was World War I, and the Germans just like went around them because they were fast, and it was like that. It ended the war like day one. They're like, oh, well, all the guys are in the trenches. You're not going to go in the trenches, and they were like, no, we're not. That's Pat. His defense is a trench, and we are past that version of warfare, which is tough when you are playing 5-on-5 basketball. Mike Budenholzer's favorite thing. Then I will say campaign. Then I will say Bobby Portis.
What does campaign show that Bobby Portis hasn't? Again, this is semantics at this point because I don't really trust either of them.
That's fine. For me, I think, and people will disagree with this, I'm sure, I think he actually hijacks the offense less. Cam will take like 2 or 3 shots in a 3-minute period, and maybe it's just a function of the amount of minutes they play, and that's what's swaying me. I think he's consistently actually had better games than Bobby, and his good games are really overpowering for the Bucks when they do happen, even though they're not as flashy as Bobby, because again, he doesn't play as much. I also think on the season, he's had a pretty good assist to turnover ratio. Like his shot obviously has not consistently fallen after he led the league in shooting to start. But you look at it on the whole, he is averaging 6 points, 2.3 assists to 0.7 turnovers, so better than a 3-to-1 ratio, shooting 45% from the field, still hitting 40% from deep and 87% from free throw. They have barely lost his minutes on the whole as a season. I honestly still think if the rest of the bench was better, that's a fine backup point guard for the Bucks, considering he's just got to be out there when Dame isn't out there, which is not very much of the games. I don't think he's been a huge issue. I know he's been frustrating to people. He's clearly had some bad games, but he's the backup point guard. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. So would I like to upgrade him to a Chris Dunn? For sure. It would be way more helpful. But
Chris Dunn, get on the Bucks playing challenge.
You see him like yucking it up with Bobby? Do you think they were talking about like, yo, we're going to get traded for each other next week?
They were trying to do a house swap like Josh Hart and Larry Nance Jr. did.
Although they were probably teammates in Chicago?
No.
Was Chris Dunn never
Chris Dunn and Bobby Portis.
Yeah. Not those two. No.
Okay.
Chris Dunn and Bobby Portis.
That sounds right. Let me check really quickly.
I just noticed those two in particular, and I was like, what if they're laughing about the trade rumors?
That would be funny. So 15 to 15. And they were teammates for a year and a half.
Nailed it. But let's talk trades.
Yeah, let's talk trades. Josh
who do you want?
Jr.
We did our trust tiers. It's not good for the bench. It's not. I don't trust Robin Lopez.
No, I mean I sort of do, but
I don't know how. But I don't want to unpack it right now. I get it. I get it. You're just like, I'm with one brother of a starter. I'll be with them all.
Yeah.
If the Bucks had Justin Holiday years ago, you've been like, he's good, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore 31% from three. He can hoop.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Justin Holiday's played with Steph Curry, you know?
So is Marquese Chriss. We'll get to him later. Who do you think the Bucks are going to get at the deadline?
One of the guys from the Nets.
Why do you sound so disappointed about that?
Because there are other options you can get, and I fear they're going to get like the wrong guy from the Nets. If there's anyone from the Nets I really want, it's Dennis Smith Jr. It's probably Dennis Smith Jr.
I disagree on that.
Would you rather you want Royce O'Neal?
I would rather have Royce or DFS, yeah. Even knowing it'll cost more salary. To me, at this point, if you're like, oh, you could get this player, but Bobby has to go out in the deal, I'm like, okay, that's a win-win.
Yeah, it works.
I know he played well against Utah. I'm sorry. Am I hating? Maybe. The play has just been very bad. Or Pat. It's like, oh, it's like the difference between Robin Lopez or Campaign going out and Bobby or Pat. I'm like, that's negligible. They just have played poorly all year.
Yeah,
hate to say it. Would like for them to just turn it around. But if you can get a Dorian Finney-Smith or a Royce O'Neal, who I think both have played pretty well this season, I am all in. I'm waiting to deep dive until post-move, so I don't want to end up – it's like the draft. I don't want to research a ton of players, and I don't take any of them. But
I think they're going to make a trade with the Nets. I don't think they're going to get DeJounte Murray. I don't think they're going to get Bruce Brown. I don't think they're going to get Chris Dunn.
I think Bruce Brown's on the menu.
I think Bruce Brown's on the menu for sure. I just don't think they will.
Should they?
Maybe. I'd like Bruce Brown on the team.
I've heard he's not necessarily a stopper. I don't
he's
know
not
if
necessarily.
that's...
He's more of a team defender.
Yeah, which maybe is just fine.
That's exactly. That's okay, especially if you have him and Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
That's fine. You take that.
Would you give up the Portland second and one of Marjan or Ajax or AJ Green?
If you have to outbid a team to get him, maybe. Are you getting anything else in the deal? What's the salary? I mean,
it's always Bobby and Pat. It has to be.
That. I don't know. It depends on the context for me. I'd give out the Portland second for sure. I'd maybe give out your other second round pick instead of trying to give out one of Marjack's, if you can.
Yeah. I think the Raptors probably want the young guy.
Who knows?
I mean, they
got Jordan Nwora now. They got their good
I saw a tweet from a Raptors fan last night. It's like, Jordan Nwora should have played down the stretch. I was like, oh, they're really in the dirt. Oh, my God.
No, yeah, I saw a tweet that was like, that's
horrible.
It's like, man, I can't believe Jordan Nwora is not in the healthy rotation. It's like, I can believe it.
Let's not take for granted even this version of the Bucks, folks, because we could be having these conversations.
Yeah, we were like 2 years ago.
Not really.
No. But we were always like, hey, is it Jordan Nwora time? For Jordan Nwora, it was always Jordan Nwora time. But
he never had the question.
This is too much Jordan Nwora talk.
Yeah.
I think if you can get Bruce Brown, you do it. I don't think they will. I think there's going to be another team that outbids them because this is a team in the Bucks who don't have a ton to really deal with. And there are other teams who have assets that are trying to gear up for the postseason because it looks open. Like, unfortunately, Joel Embiid is having surgery for his torn meniscus and there's no timetable really for his return, unfortunately. But the Sixers might be out of it. So there's just a window, really. Like the Knicks and the Cavs, like these are two teams that are really, really gunning for it. If the Cavs win today, on Monday, they're second in the East. Like this is a wide open Eastern Conference.
Yeah. I don't know if the Cavs have the salary to get him. I think the Knicks are probably one of the more frightening ones with the Fournier expiring.
Hey, the Knicks might just get LeBron, so who knows?
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy, huh? Julius Randle and Evan Fournier for LeBron.
Yeah, who knows?
Why would the Lakers?
To get something, if
they'd have to throw in all the picks, dude. I'm not trading LeBron for Julius Randle and Evan Fournier. I'm not doing that. You're Leon Rose on the phone to me. You're like, but Ty, if I'm Lakers GM, Rob Pelinka, whatever, he wants out. You have to respect his word. No, I don't. I don't at all. I pay him $40 million a year. I'm not taking back Evan Fournier and Julius Randle for LeBron. Oh, he'd like to leave. Leave in the summer. I don't care. Oh, you're not going to do anything this year. You know what? I'm not going to do anything with LeBron. I'm not going to not do anything with Evan Fournier, who you sent home for a year and a half.
That's fair. Hey, homecoming for Julius Randle.
Great. I can't wait to watch Julius Randle and Anthony Davis, the most disgusting, sick basketball you could ever conceive of, with D'Angelo Russell running the point. And
that is a horrible
Rui at the three. Oh, this is awesome.
That is a horrible thing.
Despicable.
Hope Julius Randle gets well soon with that dislocated shoulder.
Yes, for sure. 100%. Hope I never have to watch him play with an Anthony Davis or a Giannis. Like, it's no.
What?
Just that kind of player. I just don't want to see him play with yeah. I don't want him on the Bucks either. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either.
I would take LeBron.
I'd take LeBron.
I would take LeBron for sure. How old can we get?
Hey, can the Bucks trade for LeBron? You're asking who are the Bucks going to get? They're going to get LeBron.
They should go get LeBron.
Yeah, why not?
Or just get Anthony Davis and just teams will never score. You won't either, but that's okay.
Yeah, the Bucks won't score, but neither will the opponent. It's okay.
And the one out of every 3 games where Anthony Davis is a mid-range assassin, they'll be really good. In the other 2 games, they'll win 85-80. Real hoops are back.
It'll be Bad Boys Pistons basketball.
Yeah, really would be.
Who do you think the Bucks are going to get?
I don't think it'll be Tybal. because I think there is some negativity between Tybal and Doc Rivers. So we can scratch him off. I don't think it'll be Caruso. I think the Bulls are insane, and I think they're just going to hold until he walks, as is their way. Also,
I honestly appreciate it.
Levine is out for the season now?
Yep.
Wow.
They were probably going to trade him to Detroit, and he was like, yep, I'm having surgery.
I will have season-ending surgery and said that. Oofta. One of the Nets guys makes sense. I don't know why they're doing this, like, we're not going to ever give up Mikal Bridges thing. You're bad. He's not a franchise player. He is a great guy. Every team would love to have him. I don't mean that. You cannot build a team.
I'll take Mikal Bridges.
I would certainly take Mikal. Don't even know. They've turned down 6 firsts from Houston. They are not trading Mikal Bridges unless we send over Giannis. But one of the other Nets guys.
We send over Thanasis instead.
We could try it. Like the old try to trade Zoran Dragic instead of Goran Dragic from the Suns.
The old Marshawn Dillon Brooks thing.
Oh, man. That's the best one. That actually broke down a trade. I thought Marshawn Brooks was going to be a good player, too. Didn't last in the league much longer than that trade mistake gate. I think one of the Nets guys is pretty likely. I'm not a big Dennis Smith Jr. guy just because I worry about some of these point guards where I'm like, is he going to do anything besides defend? I know we need defense.
Hey, we'll take that. We'll take that.
Kind of.
I will take that. That dude, if you want to get like an equate Walmart brand stopper, it's Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah, I suppose. I would rather get him and a player who I'm like, okay, I think this player will always be useful in the playoffs. And that to me is like a Royce O'Neal, Dorian Finney-Smith, Bruce Brown.
I mean, if you can get both of them, if you can get a DFS plus Dennis Smith Jr., that'd be cool.
I think DFS and Royce would make a lot of sense as a package. The Nets don't value that highly because those are the oldest. Or Dennis Smith Jr. isn't that old, but I think he's an expiring deal. Royce is older than DFS. Yeah. So it's like, Pat or Bobby and some other low salaried player and a second round pick. Like, is Brooklyn going to do much better? Probably not. I've seen the reported asking price of Royce O'Neal as second round picks, which means it's probably like 1 second round pick, because they always report these things as higher than actual. Just like DFS is like 1 first, which really means like whatever picks we can get, honestly, and most likely. So one of those two, whichever they like more out of Royce and DFS. I'm not real picky between the two of them, frankly. That would be fine. I think I would like Bruce Brown a little better, just because I think he is probably a no-doubt starter, and I really am interested in the idea of like...
Is he a no-doubt starter?
I think probably.
Is he?
I think he's a much better fit for what they need than Bees, even if Bees is having a great season.
That's fair. And we've talked at length before about how moving Bees to the bench is probably it helps the bench. And it might help the starters if you get a Bruce Brown.
That's my thing. So I would really like if you get Royce, Royce O'Neal to me is not a guy who it's like, oh, he's for sure going to come in and start. I mean, maybe if he hits the ground and plays well.
Bruce Brown is not a starter and wasn't in Indy.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think he's got a better shot. We'll see. DeJounte, it feels a little unlikely.
It feels very unlikely.
I think it feels a little. I would say 40% chance.
40's high.
I just go back to the Hawks are poor / broke boy mentality. Who else is trading for him? I don't think the Lakers are. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron is over here like kind of saying he wants to go trade to the Knicks. Why are you giving up 2 first-round picks to get DeJounte Murray instead of D'Angelo Russell on the team?
I think it's instead of Austin Reeves at this point.
Same question. Like that's making or breaking your world if you're the Lakers and you're just bad. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Maybe you're setting yourself up for a post-LeBron world. Get a good young player.
Fair. They are a team to me that sits on their hands a lot more than I probably would have with LeBron on the team. And maybe they're going to try and undo that now with a bunch of late moves.
And we're like, let's do a 2011 Mavs.
They were like, let's get rid of all the players who helped and just have no spacing for 4 years. And somehow it hasn't worked out, shockingly. Outside of them, though, I don't really know who else would really trade for it. Maybe the Pistons or the Spurs or like some bad team. I don't know. Maybe it's unlikely.
Aren't going to get Zach LaVine unless Troy Weaver just does a like, hey, you know what? We'll trade for him anyway.
Price is even lower.
It wouldn't shock me at this point.
LaVine just tweets the gif of the guy pretending to drink bleach and jump off of a balcony. He might actually do it after getting season-ending knee surgery.
That'd be amazing.
I would still go. I think Andy Herman, host of the Pack-A-Day podcast, tweeted a fake trade that the Bucks got back Kelly Olynyk and Chris Dunn and traded whatever. I forget what they like, Bobby and Marjan and a second, which felt a little rich to me, but some variation. Like Kelly Olynyk would be a pretty good backup big on this team.
I don't want Kelly Olynyk.
I get people hate Kelly Olynyk. What he actually does on the court would be helpful.
I know, but I hate Kelly Olynyk.
I think they get Kelly Olynyk and Chris Dunn, and they go on like a 10-1 run. As despicable as that sounds.
They might. It'll be like it'll cost you some points with the basketball gods, though.
For sure. But have they ever really smiled on us? Outside of 2011 or 2021, no.
2011. The basketball gods were not shocking on the Bucks in 2011. That's for sure.
No.
I'd say in 2021, yeah. But I mean, even like in terms of like John Horst's ability to go make trades, I'd say the basketball gods.
That's not basketball gods. That's gumption. Basketball gods is like inexplicable stuff.
That's fair. That's fair. Giannis getting up from every time he goes down. I'd say that's pretty good.
I think they smiled once in 2013, but it was so bright that it's still resonating on Giannis.
They're like, okay, we need to.
Yeah, that was for 20, 30 years of suck, and we really needed it.
That was for
to be
2011.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to be someone we're not even thinking of at this point. I really do.
Larry Nance Jr.
If there's a defender coming back as well, if Dyson Daniels is on the way too, maybe. A player who I know very little about, but it does seem like a scrappy defender.
It's probably not going to be Dyson Daniels.
I'd be pretty surprised, yeah. But the Pelicans are weird.
I don't know if you really want to get Dyson Daniels. If you're talking about a guy, like a defensive guy who's not going to do a lot else, like just go get
I'm not calling out. Yeah, I'm not. I just meant in a deal with Larry Nance. I think they need to get two players at this point is the difficulty.
Yeah, they probably do need to get two
or
players.
Trade 2 for 1 and sign my guy Big Biz. But I would like to upgrade bench
Big Bismack Biyombo.
And I would like a perimeter player.
He's waiting. He's waiting
ready.
for the trade deadline.
He's ready.
Or maybe he's just washed.
No,
you refuse to even.
Let me pull up Biz. Let's pull up Biz stats. Let's see what he was doing this year. Let's silence the Bismack Biyombo disrespect. I've had enough of it. Let's see. Big Biz, 30 games, 27 starts, 5.2 points.
Ooh.
Bigger than Pat. 6.4 rebounds.
Ooh.
1.7 assists, 1.3 turnovers.
That's
positive. 1.7 assists is a big number for a big guy.
It is, but also 1.3 turnovers is also big.
That's one stone hand per game, and then one bad pass every 3 games. That's what that is. 1.1 blocks per game at age 31 for Big Biz.
He's 31. Excuse me, bro. That dude's at least 40.
No.
That dude's at least.
He's 31 and a half. He's 31 and a half.
Bismack Biyombo, there's no shot.
31 and a half 32. Years old. I'm not weighing in. I'm not. He came in the league at 19, Rohan.
Oh my God. That dude is 40.
56% from the field. Let's see. Let me pull up his splits by range.
I thought he was so much older. That's crazy.
I'm just going to leave that alone. He is shooting 72%. Wait,
he's only 6'8"?
Yes, he gets it done, though. He's shooting 72% from 0 to 3 feet, 41% from 3 to 10 feet. No other makes anywhere else on the court. That's all we need.
I don't need to pull up the Thanasis stats from the last.
No, God. He has made more shots this year than TyTy in his career, I think.
Don't say that, man. I just got this basketball card.
You love that card.
Look, maybe it's not, so maybe pretty.
Not. 67. No, TyTy's probably made more than 67.
It's so pretty. For those listening,
describe the colors. Whoa, my tab went crazy here. No. TyTy's tripled him up this year to his career. We're good.
Okay.
Coming up on 200 made field goals for Thanasis.
Let's go. Let's get some more in there.
We might be on the way trade deadline day if the Bucks are as active as we think. Is there anyone off the wall that you've been thinking about?
I'm trying to think of teams. The problem is that there's just so many teams that are in it. There's not a lot of sellers at the trade deadline nowadays. There's just not a ton. You like maybe I don't know if there's anyone from the Hornets who would make sense. I don't know if there's anyone from Washington that'll make sense.
Well, dude, you're such a DeLon Wright hater. I can't even have the conversation with you.
I'm just so out on DeLon Wright.
Is it just because of past years?
Yes. If the Bucks trade for DeLon Wright, will you say it's a successful trade deadline?
I'll say it's underwhelming, but I'm open to see how it works. He's having a pretty bad year.
Yeah, on the Wizards.
He's shooting 38% from the field, but 37% from three, and only about a third of his shots are threes. So that is not good for his 2-point percentage.
No, it is not good.
But he had rocking a 2.8 to 0.4 assist to turnover per game.
We'll take that.
That's crazy. That is a crazy number. But you got to knock down some twos at some point. I'm getting DJ Augustine now. Although I think DeLon Wright's still an okay.
He's shooting 39.2% on twos, by the way.
Pretty bad. Probably just a lot of long twos. Hopefully not too many at the rim. But if he can defend well, I think it would help. But no, I'd be pretty underwhelmed by that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's not a lot of teams that are going to be selling. Like, do you want anyone from the Pistons? Do you want Killian Hayes? Because he's apparently requested to trade.
No, I don't want Killian Hayes, Rohan.
Exactly. Like, do you want anyone from the Pistons?
I don't think so. I mean, Alec Burks is like a live NBA player a fourth of the games and then horrible for the rest.
Bogey?
No. The last thing the Bucks need to get older and slower.
For sure.
Worse defensively.
If you don't want anyone from the Pistons, no one from the Wizards besides DeLon Wright, no one from the Hornets, Raptors, Bruce Brown we talked about, Nets we talked about their guys. Those are the only teams not in the play-in in the East. Those are the only teams not going to be selling.
I heard a DeAndre Hunter rumor.
I saw that as well.
That's pretty interesting.
I'd be interested, but also underwhelmed.
I would not be underwhelmed if they get. You'd be underwhelmed if they got DeAndre Hunter?
A little bit.
Wow.
A little bit.
I'd be pretty whelmed at that. I mean, he's not exactly what we're looking for, but he's like a very productive. It's just the injury concern, which is why he's available.
I mean, you take a young player,
a 26-year-old wing would probably look a lot better between Giannis, Chriss, and Dame than he has over in Atlanta, which is true for a lot of players.
I mean, sure. I guess I'd be happy with DeAndre.
Throw in West or AJ Griffin in the trade. That'd be hilarious if they traded for AJ Griffin now.
That'd be really funny. Get Wes Matthews back, please.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be okay with that. What about like Bogdan?
It sounds like they really don't want to trade him, and like he helps you for sure.
I don't think you need him, really. You have like a light version of Bogdan and Malik Beasley.
Yeah, it's just you're just like supercharging your offense, which isn't the worst idea. Marcus Smart, they've been sniffing around.
But they've been turned down, apparently, by the Grizzlies.
4 days to go. A lot of time.
He's also hurt.
Yep.
Which might drive his cost down, but also you don't want to trade for a player who's hurt.
It's risky, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be probably the player who we've talked about that would be the most exciting just in terms of fit when they are available.
He would
exactly
be so good
what they need. The exact player you'd want to slot in between Dame and Chriss.
Healthy Marcus Smart starting on this team would be
just perfect. Yeah.
Something else. I would have to eat so much crow on Marcus Smart. I don't care.
We obviously don't trust him as like an offensive weapon necessarily, but still like a bench ball handler as well. Like not bench, but like a second unit ball handler as well when you're staggering. Like Smart and Chriss could probably combine for some pretty fun sets with just like Smart getting him in position. Yeah.
That'd be so good.
I'd probably be the most excited about that, even if it was the riskiest move.
That's the thing. It's very, very risky, and I don't think this team is going to take that big of a risk.
Sounds like they want to.
It's true. Maybe they were trying to get in on a low price.
Yeah. Well, they kind of are by default because that's what they've got.
Low price even for them, though.
Yeah. Jayshawn Tate.
No.
It's just like a guy that exists to me.
He hasn't progressed as well as
he's just like a wing player who exists, and people are like, "Oh my God, Jayshawn Tate." It's like, okay,
because he was like a revelation like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but revelation in this sense means like, oh, he's probably a real NBA player on a garbage team, and then like that excitement gets carried over to like inflate to something he's not. Yeah, shooting 29% from three this year and barely taking any. I think we're good.
I'm fine.
Reggie Bullock.
I mean, no, we're not that far in the weeds, Ty.
No, we're not. Can you get Aaron Holiday from Houston? Probably not. He's having a pretty good year, actually.
I know, but like, do you need an Aaron Holiday?
He's a pretty good guard defender, isn't he?
I guess, but like, you want a bigger defender than Aaron Holiday? Like, if you're if you're gonna go get a cheap like small defender, go get Dennis.
You're gonna say Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr.
Can I not have a guy? You've been talking about Biz for like a year and a half. Can I not have a guy?
It's very relevant. He's right there. He's waiting for the call. What about other Bulls?
So Dennis Smith Jr. We're talking about Biz when he was on the Suns.
I was right to do so. Ayo Dosunmu? I just said, like, I don't know enough. That's the Javon Carter having a pretty bad year.
Not the best year for Javon.
Which I mean low price of entry.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate it.
What if it was like, let's say Pat and I don't know, probably campaign would make sense for Torrey Craig and Javon Carter.
The Torrey Craig revival tour.
Yeah. It's like just two helpful defensive-minded bench players. I mean, like you're maybe throwing. I would try to just not even throw in a second-round pick, to be honest. I think that the pitch there is like, we'll take this Javon Carter contract you clearly already regret because he's fourth or fifth in line and point guards on your team because your roster makes no sense and you're cheap and you're stuck with Zach LaVine for at least another year now. Like that. So I think that to me is like, if that is in conjunction with another move, like, okay, can you do that and then trade Bobby in a second for a Royce O'Neal or Dorian Finney-Smith? And then it's like, we just have a whole new bench group now.
Yeah, maybe.
That fills more needs. You're not loving that? Javon and Torrey Craig?
Not a ton.
No.
But I mean, I'd take it at this point. This bench just needs something. They need.
I think if that's your big trade, it's underwhelming. I do think it would help.
I think it would help too. If it's like a secondary move, I wouldn't be horribly upset at it.
Yeah. Do you want Onuralp Bitim?
Do I want what?
This is a real player for the Chicago Bulls this year.
Who?
I don't know. Not 79 Drell. 78 Drell.
Someone Drell.
One of their two ways. Let me look at Brooklyn stats here. People have mentioned Lonnie Walker the fourth on a minimum. Yeah, it's just like a playable wing, having a really 43% from deep this year.
I wanted him instead of Jingles last year.
It would have been nice. DFS is 38% from three. Royce O'Neal is 34% from three.
Yeah.
I wish his contract was half the amount. I'm not entirely interested in a buy low on Dinwiddie, but at $20 million, a guy who is shooting 32% from three and 39% from
a player who's been rumored to actively be on strike is just
that.
You ever just play so bad that your team thinks you're on strike?
I can't say that I have personally.
Let's just not trade for that guy. How about that?
That's pretty fair. Dennis Smith Jr., of course, kind of shocked he takes 2 threes a game, but 26.7% from deep.
Hey, you win some battles.
I think this, to me, is like a deadline that makes sense to make a volume play. If there's ever been one, this is a deadline where it's like, let's move 3 players out and bring 3 players in, even if none of them individually are as exciting as a Jay Crowder or a PJ Tucker. I think it could still work out. But you got to do something.
Let's do a 20, what year was that? 18, 17 Cavs?
Oh, yeah. They're like, yeah, our team kind of sucks. Let's just redo it.
Let's redo the whole
I think it was 2018. 2017, they were actually really good. I think it was 2018 when they had like D Wade and they're like, yeah, this isn't working. Let's get rid of him. And that was a crazy year. Yeah.
That was a crazy year. They go trade Isaiah Thomas to the Lakers.
And then still make the finals.
Larry Nance Jr.
Is that the key?
Yeah. Hey, we'll get that weird BR edit of him turning into Patrick Starr after dunking on someone. So.
How do you feel about the double prove it trade of Bobby for Grant Williams?
No.
Oh, I would do that. I would be locked in. Oh yeah, I would do that for sure.
Grant Williams is just he hasn't been the same in 2 years.
In what sense?
Like, he just hasn't been like a solid defender. He's not hitting his shots nearly as well.
37% from three. I've seen worse on the Bucks.
That's fair. It's a low bar. You're right.
I would like to sneak into a Josh Green. I don't know if they would actually trade him. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know. They probably wouldn't.
They have like 3 guys who are sub 10, 5, and 2 assists or something in big minutes, and they're rumored to be interested in another one, Dorian Finney-Smith. I think it was Kirk Henderson, who was like, they're assembling the Voltron of mid. And Josh Green was on this. I was like, oh, is he available? I'll take some mid.
Voltron of mid. It's hilarious.
I've always been a Rashawn Holmes guy, but that really has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, it's so, the rest of the field outside the main guys we've talked about, like for the last month and a half, 2 months-ish, it's just so mid. It's so underwhelming, like the rest of the guys.
Would you do Bobby and Pat and like whatever other salary for Andrew Wiggins?
No.
Another double prove it?
No.
I would be interested in that.
That's not what the team needs.
I would definitely not do the Brooke or Chris versions I've seen people throw around. I would be open to that one just because I'm just like ready to just try something with the bench. But that's a huge I mean, the thing about that is like, can you turn him around into another player because that contract is pretty big later and he at least is productive? Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be a weird deadline.
It's not really what the team needs. But
what do you think out of all this stuff? What's the home run? Like, what are you like, oh my God, they did that?
Bruce Brown and Dennis Smith Jr.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a solid pickup. Those are solid pickups for the Bucks.
Yeah.
You turn Bruce Brown into a starter. You move Malik Beasley to the bench. You get your point guard defender. You get your just like versatile defender. I think it's a win.
One guy we haven't talked about. Chris Dunn.
Chris Dunn?
Chris Dunn for me. I think Chris Dunn is one of the best players.
On his own?
Probably strictly a bench player. Well, that's the issue with that. Because I would like another player as well. Like, can you send out 3 guys and get back Chris Dunn and Dorian Finney-Smith or something?
That'd be a win.
I think then and then of course, open up the roster spot for Big Viz. You got to.
You have to get Big Viz.
Or could add one of the 3 talented big men on the Wisconsin herd. Rohan and I covered the game Saturday night, and I will say there were more front office personnel at the game before that than usual. Marquese Chriss' debut, and I think I still seemed like the Knicks had a couple guys sitting courtside across from us over there on the edge too. But we saw the herd win 128-120. Marquese Chriss' second game playing after getting picked up after making a long recovery from a devastating knee injury. Game 1, I was like, oh, he's calling for the ball a lot. Like, I don't know if this is going to be very good. Game 2, you kept saying, hey, that's an NBA player out there. Like, you can tell he looks it. So, real quick, Chris was 5 for 12 from the field, had 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 offensive, plus 2 assists, did have 3 turnovers. But what were your impressions from, again, still like a Rusty getting back? Like, he had not practiced with the team before his first game. He just kind of showed up and played 2 games. What were your impressions of Marquese Chriss up close?
It's so fun when I'm able to get up and go to Wisconsin Herd games and just watch good basketball. But you can see when a guy stands out. You can really see when a guy stands out compared to the other players in the G League. The one guy previously who had stood out, again for different reasons. You can stand out for multiple reasons. Ibu Baji was a guy who really stood out. Like, you can tell, like, yeah, that guy's going to get called up immediately because he's massive.
He's got, like, 5 blocks, 5 fouls. Like, he's all over the place. 10 rebounds in 3 minutes.
Immediately gets called up to the Portland Trailblazers.
Twice.
Immediately. Yeah. And you can tell. Marquese Chriss is another guy. It's like, yeah, that dude has played a lot of high-level basketball. One, you can tell he's just an athlete. He looks like an NBA player. In terms of his physique, the way he moves around, like he plays basketball in a way that you can just tell just by watching him play. Like, yeah, that dude belongs in the NBA in terms of his athleticism, in terms of the way he moves, the way he navigates, the way he actually plays basketball.
For a player coming off a devastating knee injury, Beno Udrih told me on Thursday like the doctors told Chriss he might never be able to play again. Coming off all that rust, 2 games in, he just like got up and down the court. It looked like it was jogging for him, just faster than all the other bigs in the game. Like that to me, I was like, oh my God, like he really is like moving very well. Like it was an effortless way, but I was like, wow, he's pretty quick. Like you can tell why he was drafted in as like a 4 explosive dunk contesty kind of guy, and really has become, I think, a small ball 5 for sure. But some of that athleticism is still in there.
For sure. You can see he's calling for lobs anytime he has a breath of space. He's just like pointing up like, hey, if you throw it up, I'm probably going to be able to go up and get it.
Yeah.
He's that type of guy. But yeah, the quickness, just the lateral quickness, and it's also as well as the up and down just sort of quickness. You can see, that dude, one, worked really, really hard to get to where he is now to be able to play basketball again. And 2 is just belongs in, like, he just belongs. He looks like he belongs. He plays like he belongs. Like, the stats won't really tell the entire story. Yeah. It's just the way he moves. It's like, that dude's played a lot of high-level basketball and will continue to play a lot of high-level basketball. I
do think he is up with any Herd player in terms of getting a call up the rest of the season. Of course, played a long time in the NBA, is not two-way eligible, which also affects Wendy and Gabriel, who did not have a great game against the Knicks. This was a Westchester Knicks game we watched on Saturday, and did hurt himself during the game. He fell directly on his tailbone. A player drew a charge against him, which again banned the charge for the billionth time, but has had a very strong season overall, can kind of defend the rim and the perimeter, has shot the ball well this season, and has scored inside effectively. Also, Marquese Bolden, the other Marquese on the team, had a really good game. It didn't come
Career
up much. We didn't interview him, but 25 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. No longer a Bucks two-way player, of course, but the Herd then acquired his rights, and he's still playing with the Herd. He's had some really nice games as well. I think he's working on his touch around the basket, which has been touch and go, to be punny for a bit this year. But this was a very nice game where he looked like an NBA caliber big man as well. But, career high as well. Off the bench, Alex Antetokounmpo, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. 8 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep. Alex could not miss early and kept up the scoring as the game went on. That was a very fun game to watch, and it was really cool to talk to Alex about it. Afterward, we also interviewed TyTy Washington Jr. and Marquese Chriss, but that was a fun game to watch, and you could tell the crowd was getting super into it the whole game, but certainly when Alex was playing well, I think it just excites everyone watching.
Yeah, it really does. It was fun early on. We were talking while the game was going on, about Alex. And his shot hasn't really been there. And then he knocks down his first 3. Then he knocks down another 3. And then he knocks down another 3. And we're like, oh my God, what is happening?
Guess it's back.
Guess it's back. But we were joking around during warm-ups maybe there's some other stuff. But it was very, very impressive to see Alex really put on that type of performance and say, maybe this dude, the potential is there. It's all about getting to that point, working on his game, as he talks about in the interview we do with him. But it's just, it's fun to see him sort of scratch that level of potential that we know, and Giannis is detailed at length about that he has.
Yeah, it 100% is. So I'll be keeping, and you as well, I think we'll be catching some more Herd games this season, be keeping a close eye on how Alex plays the rest of the way, because it would certainly be an awesome story if he is able to, get a 10-day or a 2-way, whether it's with the Bucks or someone else, and, continue this evolution here. And then TyTy Washington, who has, I think, had just a really good season for the Herd, has some flashes pretty much every game where you're just like, he has just a very good feel for the game and a lot of important tools for any point guard.
There was a play in the game where you referenced this when we talked to him, but just where he just crosses a guy up, gets the screen with Marquese Bolden, and just gets a hint of an advantage, just perfect bounce pass to Bolden for an and-one dunk. And it's that guy knows how to navigate his screen.
Yeah. For how young he is still. I mean, came out young, this is only his second pro season. shows a lot of seasoning as a guard, which I'm still very high on TyTy for as his career potential. 14 points, 8 assists. He had 10, I think, in the 2 games before that. He has been on an assist tear, 2 rebounds and a steal, only 2 turnovers. He was 1 for 6 from deep, so basically his 3-point shot wasn't falling, but also was 5 for 7 from 2. So really effective within the arc and just a good overall team game. Second on the team plus minus with a plus 15 as well. So yeah, it was great catching up with TyTy, who still didn't play as much. He is coming back from the from a groin injury, but overall had a good game again, and it was great catching up with him as well. So yeah, and Rohan, do you have anything else for us to talk about here before we throw to these 3 interviews we got to conduct with those players after the Herd game?
No, I think we can get into our conversations with Alex Antetokounmpo, TyTy Washington Jr, and Marquese Chriss.
Alex, congratulations on the career high tonight. You provided a tremendous scoring boost off the bench. What do you feel went right for you in this game?
Just confidence booster. Obviously, I was able to get in and knock down my first couple shots, and I think obviously my teammates keep encouraging me to keep being able to, keep telling me to shoot the ball. So I feel as if just getting back in rhythm. That's all it is.
Yeah, you guys were a little short-handed with only 8 available. I think everyone scored in double digits. Felt like everyone provided big boosts at different points in the game. What does that game feel like now looking back and during the game, just knowing, it's a smaller group of players, but everyone is really contributing?
Yeah. I would say we're fortunate enough to have guys that have played in the NBA and have good enough experience, and they're able to pretty much get us together and kind of work as a glue to be able to kind of get this job done. When we're short-handed, we don't have a lot of guys.
You mentioned you knocked down a couple shots early. How big is that for you, both in terms of just your confidence shooting as well as maybe opening up the floor so you have, more ability to drive later on, get the closeouts a little harder, that sort of thing?
Obviously, I've been that's something I've stressed, obviously being able to improve my shooting and become more of a threat from the 3-point line and being able to stretch the floor. I feel like obviously my game is a lot physical, a lot going downhill, as most people tell, but I think when I'm able to make shots, it just opens up a whole different game for me going downhill.
Absolutely. This season, I think a couple weeks ago, you became the Herd all-time leader in games played. You have spent a lot of time here, a lot of games in front of these fans, and with a lot of great players. What does it mean to you to suit up, represent the Wisconsin Herd, the Bucks organization, and play games for this team?
It's amazing. I think I've loved to be here. Obviously, I'm able to be close to my family and be able to represent the city that I was raised in. So it's amazing.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to ask, in your opinion, how do you feel like your game has come along this year? Obviously, tonight was really, a high point in the season, and again, a career high in scoring. But how do you when you evaluate yourself in your game, how do you feel like, you're performing right now?
I'd say that I'm able to keep improving. Obviously, when I first put on this Herd jersey, I had a lot of holes in my game, and I still do have a lot of holes in my game. But with my teammates and with my coaches, with my coaching staff, I'm able to improve every year and be able to feel more comfortable out there and be able to help the team win.
And then, got a little chippy at points in that game. It was a pretty brutal flagrant foul on you. You knocked down the free throw. Does that added physicality impact you at all, or just part of the game?
Man, I play a physical game. Both my brothers, they always tell me don't be scared of physicality. Always go downhill. Always go into everybody else's body. So I think I invite that contact. Obviously, with my game, things are going to get chippy at times, and that's kind of inevitable to happen. So
yeah, I wanted to ask one about you and your brothers. The production company was announced earlier this year. Just wanted your thoughts on that, and if you're going to be involved at all, and just how excited that you and everyone in the family is to be able to have maybe more control over the stories of your family that are told.
Definitely. I mean, that's something. The stuff that we've launched this year is kind of what we've been wanting to do for a while, and I feel like this year we're gonna have the motivation we got together to be able to launch stuff like this, launch the production company, launch the foundation, do all this good stuff that we've been kind of putting off and been wanting to do for a while, and being able to tell our story the right way.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
getting back to the game, it was a total team win. Everyone who played tonight scored in double digits. Do you feel like this team's cohesion is starting to get better and better as these games go on?
One more time?
Do you feel like this team's cohesion is starting to get better and better as these games go on, or is it just something that you feel like has been there? It just,
of course,
it just came in this
game. Of course, I think this type of window is kind of it's kind of what our coaching staff kind of stressed, for us to being able to share the ball and everybody eats. I think that was the most fun games, and I feel as if we're getting better and better at that. Obviously, I would say this game we probably could have took care of the ball a little bit more, but I think this is just a step in the right direction.
Thanks, Alex. Great team win tonight, TyTy. Seemed like really everyone had it going. I know you guys were a little short-handed, but I believe everyone who played scored in double figures. What does it mean to have this kind of a game where, maybe a little chippy, very hard-fought win over the same team twice in a row, and, you're down a few players, but really everyone steps up?
Yeah, it was just adversity. Like you said, we're down a couple guys. It's next man up mentality for us. I mean, we all got the same common goal. We all got places we're trying to make it to. And the only way we can do that is we help each other make each other look good. So I feel like tonight was one of those games like, we got to gut it out to win, like you said. Our basically a back-to-back, not a back-to-back, but the same team twice. They was going to come playing way harder than what they played previous night. And what they did, we give credit to them. They played hard all the way to the final buzzer. But I just feel like for us, we just kept sharing the ball. I feel like at some point in the game, we got over-passive, started making, careless turnovers. But it's always good to have a game like that where, everybody across the board is always eating, more you guys eat, everybody's happy, and winning takes care of everything. So we're just happy we got the win.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask about one particular part of the ball movement. You working in the pick and roll with these bigs. It seems like the chemistry with all three of them, even, Marquese has only been here for 2 days now or whatever. But, there was like a play where, you sidestep and then throw the bounce pass with one hand in. And I don't even remember who it was, maybe a Bolden, but he finished it with a dunk. Like, how do you feel like the pick and roll chemistry with all three of these guys is coming along for you?
It came a long way from the beginning of the season. This just come from, us hanging with each other off the court, on the court practice. The more you're around someone, the chemistry is going to be there. And we just started clicking at the right moment. Our record not the best right now, so we just really trying to, pile up a bunch of wins before All-Star break to get us in better seeding. And ball screening, I feel like if I coming off the screen and they're in drop, I can get whatever I want at that point. So, teams try to mix it up. Whenever they blitz, we know how to score out of that. So, we just been watching film together. Me, Windisch, Marquese, all of us have been watching film. Marquese Chriss, veteran, played 6 years in the league, so he knows how to play with Steph and stuff, so he knows how to play with good guards, he knows when to slip screen and stuff like that. So him just coming down here, he's going to teach me a whole bunch of stuff from other guards he won with, so it's going to be real fun.
I wanted to ask about just him in particular and what it's been like. I know he just got here, I heard, right before the game on Thursday, so that's got to be a pretty crazy turnaround for him, but just playing with him so far, it seems like you're already a fan. It felt like tonight, first game kind of had to get back into it. It felt like tonight he fit in really well despite being such a new Herd teammate.
For sure, it's going to be real good playing with him. Pause. It's going to be real good with him on our team. Like I said, he got NBA experience, so whenever you have a guy like that, and, he's a good locker room guy as well. He's going to voice his opinion. He's going to use that veteran leadership. So that's good for us to have. We got him, Glenn, Windisch, but now we have an actual strong voice that, everybody's going to listen to. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's going to tell you if you're wrong or you're right. And, like I said, he played in the league, so he knows what it takes to be up there. He knows what NBA basketball looks like. So we just pretty much thankful for him to be here and just going to listen to him. He's going to help us get to the next step.
He's also another guy who certainly presents himself as a lob threat. A lot of the points up. How fun is it to be able to pretty much all the time you're out there, you're playing with someone who is excited to go up and try to, slam down the hoop?
Having that option on our team is really, good for us. He told me his first day here, he's like, I'm just going to hold the screen and let you do whatever you do. He's like, you indecisive, you don't know what to do, just shoot it. I'll go up there and try to get a rebound. So just knowing if I don't have nothing, he's just pretty much telling me either shoot it or just throw it as high as I can. He's going to make a play on it. That's really good. I mean, like you said, every time he's rolling, everybody knows he's rolling for alley-oop. And if you just throw it up there and he get a hand on it, you're going to dunk it.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask, I know you had missed a couple games with the injury and then kind of came off the bench on a minutes restriction. Just, was it a groin injury, and just how are you feeling? How's the recovery from that going?
My recovery, well, I feel 100%. I missed a game in Orlando, but we were on the road. I took care of all my rehab stuff out there. Been practicing pretty well. Now just trying to get back in the groove, get my feet back under me, and, just excited to see where things go from here. Yeah,
Coach said he kind of gave you the option last game. You could start, but it's going to be kind of an uneven minutes, or you can come off the bench and then play longer stretches. Why was it important for you to, say, I don't need to get the start tonight. I'd rather get into that game flow?
I mean, the last game we've had on the road was a huge road one for us. I didn't play, so I just felt like, that's momentum, carrying it back. It's always good to come back home and play in front of our friends, so just carrying that momentum back here, felt like it was no need for me to go out there and just try to do too much, start the game out. I feel like we could have started the same way we did in Orlando and still be productive. And even when I'm just coming off the bench, I could be with the second unit and just have that energy with them.
Got to ask, I know you've been, spending a lot of time here with the Herd, but of course the Bucks make a coaching change, bring in Doc Rivers. Just if you have, any thoughts on that, any idea on, if scheme or things like that will be changing, or any conversations you've had?
I haven't really had no conversations. I mean, I talked to with one of our coaches up there, almost daily, and he's just pretty much just keeping me in the loop. He's watching all of our games whenever they don't have games, and whenever I'm not playing, I'm tuning into them. He's sending me game clips from up there, so he's just pretty much keeping me into the loop. And I feel like as a professional in the position I'm in, it's my duty to make sure I'm knowing what's going on up there and down here. So I pretty much feel like coach has been helping me doing that, and I just been staying locked in. I love watching basketball, so keep watching good basketball.
Absolutely.
You had talked earlier about you as a shot creator, as a playmaker. Is that something you try to balance as you go out there in this game, especially with this team who's, you're the lead traditional ball handler, traditional shot creator, playmaker. How does that really balance in your game?
I just go out there and play basketball. Like tonight, I'm kind of upset. I didn't have 10 assists, only had 8. I feel like I got cheated out a couple of assists, but I go out there and I just feel like my first mentality is always get my teammates involved. I feel like if I get them going and they see a couple shots going, that's just only going to create more stuff for me, especially in the pick and rolls. If I know if I can hit our bigs on pocket passes or the lobs and let them create from there, I know this is going to open up everything else. And once that happens, I can get downhill, live in the paint. Now I'm spraying out the corner threes. So it's just at that point of the game, when I remember I'm doing that, that's just like, I'm really having fun. And just, I love seeing my teammates smile when, whenever they score and stuff like that. So that's always huge.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because it seemed like it was a total team win, like I was talking about earlier. It's just everyone who played scored in double figures. It seemed like the team had a total cohesion about them.
Yeah.
Is that something you felt as well out there on the court?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, at times I feel like we got overpasses. We got a lot of good scores on this team. One of our best scorers on the team, Elijah, he had 10 assists tonight. He was fiending to get them 10 assists, so he turned down a couple good looks. But that just goes to show, we really don't care who has the most points at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we want to win, and we're trying to win in style just a little bit.
Well, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
One more, actually, TyTy. And something we see, especially from my media seat, kind of behind your guys' bench, is Beno talking to guys during the game, kind of going over things that could have been better or just things that he sees out there. I just wondered, how do you view and process that kind of insight? And the team, having someone who obviously knows so much about the NBA game, giving you those real-time, mid-game kind of tips or adjustments or whatever it is.
It's good. I mean, he don't got to. He could be like one of those coaches that just, only talks to you during timeout. But him being, a player's coach, him actually playing the NBA, so every time there's a free throw or something, he always gets my attention. He's just telling me what he sees, or he's always just encouraging me to be aggressive, or just, whenever he sees that I'm getting frustrated on myself, he's the first one to tell me, pick my head up. And all that. Him being a point guard, he sees a lot. He sees a lot of stuff that I don't see, so he's always, trying to correct me from the bench. Throughout the midst of the game, I feel like he's done a really good job, just not only with myself, but with the rest of the guys as well, keeping us all confident and telling us what's right and from wrong. And I feel like we got a group of guys, that we all listen to our coaches, no matter if they're yelling at us or nothing, it's just like, we know at the end of the day, they're all trying to see us succeed at the end of the day. So it's just like, we're going to listen to what they're saying and just take it and apply it.
Absolutely. Thanks, TyTy. Marquese, congratulations on the win. Just what's it been like, these 2 games, after being off for 2 years, recovering from the injury? We talked to Coach after last game. He said that you had heard that, you might not even be able to play basketball again. So really, before we get to the specifics, just how are you feeling and what's it been like to get back here and play professional ball again?
I mean, first of all, I'm blessed just to even be able to play. I think I had a pretty serious injury to deal with, and I think more than physical is a mental recovery. But I mean, God blessed me with the ability to heal, be able to be here and play again. So I'm thankful for that. I'm still trying to get my feel back to playing since it's been so long. And, the game has changed a little bit in the past couple of years, a little faster, a little more up and down. But just trying to let the game come to me, not trying to be doing too much, trying to figure out my way to fit into this team.
Talked about kind of the game changing. This is something we've talked about with Glenn Robinson as well, who had a kind of similar time off there. You, for your position specifically, you kind of came into the league as more of the 4. I think now more of the 5 role,
Right.
I would say. I see you calling out coverages defensively. Seems like you're really embracing that 5 on the defensive end. Just how do you feel like you've evolved positionally, and how is that continuing to change this season?
Yeah, I think I just need to be vocal. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, when you're playing the 4, you're kind of the one that's switching.
Yeah.
I think just being vocal, trying to be a leader as best as I can, and trying to deliver a message in the right way to where it's received by my teammates. But I'll play wherever coach tells me to go out there. I'll play whatever position I need to be to get on the floor.
Absolutely. I want to talk about kind of your journey here in the shorter term. Obviously, you mentioned the difficult recovery process, but I heard you kind of arrived in Oshkosh to play with the Herd within hours of the first game, like no practice, kind of just heard you showed up. So first, like, what was the process for getting into the G League? Like, when did you know Wisconsin? Like, did you have a say in the matter, or what was that process like? And then what was that first day kind of just showing up and playing right away?
I worked out for him about a month ago, so I didn't really know kind of what was going to go on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there were some injuries that happened, so there was spots that needed to be filled. And I found out, and I flew out the next day, did all my physicals, came down. I didn't even get to practice, and then the next day we had a game. So I think it's part of the business. I've been in situations like that where I was in Dallas and I had to fly out and play the next day, and ended up signing a deal and being on the team. So it's all about just being ready and just seizing the opportunity.
Absolutely. On the court then, it felt like tonight you really were in a really good rhythm and flow with the rest of your teammates. I think even compared to the first game, when I'm sure it was just great to get out there and play, but it felt like, or it seemed like from my perspective just watching, that it was kind of much more of a rhythm for you, that you were able to find that. Did you feel that out there? And do you feel like, you can even go further and look better in like the next couple games?
For sure. I think I had a little bit more rhythm and had a little bit more understanding about my teammates and kind of what was going on. Obviously, there's room to grow. For me as a leader, just being more communicative with my teammates and how I give them messages, and just being the older guy on the team, I have to do better at that. But I think there's a lot of room for growth, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. What about kind of this organization, the Bucks and the Herd? Do you like, or have you liked so far, or did you like before coming in here?
Everything. I think they told me they would give me an opportunity to be myself. And some other teams weren't as willing to let me come in and get some workouts. So I'm thankful for them for taking a chance on me after, something that was a really serious injury, and giving me the opportunity to make my way back.
Absolutely. The game out there today, got a little chippy, I think, with someone from the assistant coaching staff. I guess, what was going on there, and did you anticipate, so soon being back that someone would already be kind of getting into it with you?
I think I have to do better on my part, not to let that get me beside myself. But it's a part of the game. We're out there competing, things are said and things are done, but I think our ultimate goal is to win, and people get competitive. So, it may get the best of some people sometimes. So as a leader, I think I have to do a little bit better at composing myself. But it's a learning experience, continue to grow.
That's a very political answer. We talked to TyTy before this, and he talked about how you told him, you can just put up a shot, you can throw it up to me, like I'm just going to be there for you. How important do you view your role, both as a veteran and being the big on the floor, just being available and just trying to help out wherever you can, basically, with the guards on this team?
I think it's super important. I've been fortunate to play with a lot of elite guards. And just give my perspective on that, in these type of situations, people might overthink and try to force feed some people. And I told him, I was like, if you're open, shoot it. Like, I don't blame you. I'll go get the rebound. Like, I don't mind, but if you're not, then throw the lob and we'll figure it out from there. So, I think he's super talented and he's able to read the screens and the pick and rolls. So just letting him kind of play his game and not have to overthink anything,
Yeah. Of course, the goal always to get back to the NBA. How do you feel like, you're just kind of restarting this journey here? Obviously, it was a long way before this, but on the court, how do you feel like it's going so far? And are you optimistic that you'll be able to get that chance this year as we get, trade deadline and buyouts and all this stuff coming up?
Absolutely. I think I just have to continue to improve. Obviously, get my win back and get the feel back for playing the game. But I think the sky's the limit for myself. Obviously, I have high hopes for what can happen by the end of this season. So just taking it day by day at this point.
Yeah, speaking of that journey, it's I imagine it's quite a process for you to be able to get back, just like your second game back. How do you feel like you're progressing so far? When do you have like a projected timetable for yourself about when you want to get back to where you fully were? Or what's that sort of process like for you?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think this injury that I had is kind of uncharted territory as far as, recovery and things like that. So obviously I'm fortunate to even be playing. So I don't really have any expectations. I'm kind of just going into it being thankful that I'm able to play. Obviously, hopefully these next few games I can play a little bit more and I get my win back. So just taking it day by day, like I said.
We noticed you kind of tugging at the knee a little bit, I think, in the first half. Are you feeling okay now?
No, I'm okay. Yeah, I think we just bumped knees with somebody, and it happened to be the knee that was bothering me a little bit, but I'm good now.
Okay.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier TyTy Washington. This entire team sort of sees you as a leader. Is that something like you need to work on for yourself? Is it something that you already have established? How is that? How do you feel like your voice is going to really impact this locker room?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think obviously I've had some years in the NBA, but I'm still around the same age as most guys. So it's a learning experience for me as well, becoming one of the leaders and one of the older guys on the team. So just trying to grow in that aspect of trying to be as positive as I can to help them grow and develop. At the same time, we're trying to improve my game.
Yeah, it's a very talented big trio this
Absolutely.
Wisconsin Herd team has.
Sure.
Unfortunately, Wendisch Gabriel goes down with an injury. Hope all is well with him. How do you see that sort of three-headed monster playing out when you have you, Bolden, you have Gabriel out there? It's a defensive nightmare for
sure.
other teams.
I think with all three of us, you get a little bit of everything. I think we're all able to stretch the floor. We're all able to put the ball on the ground and get to the basket. And obviously on the defensive end, we can protect the basket. So, I think any given night, one of us can produce and get what the team needs to win.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
So that was our conversations. Hopefully folks continue to enjoy them. I would say, not to deep dive all three of them, but I just think generally the coolest part about getting those is to talk about things that we see and we talk about, and then getting the actual on-court player perspective I find it invaluable. I really think it's so cool to get that extra level of insight when we talk to these guys, and really appreciate their time and their thoughtful answers. I thought all three were really interesting interviews we had to conduct. So appreciate all three players for, doing their part, which is almost all of it, frankly.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to get that perspective, great to get that opportunity. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed. We'll say thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on Blue Wire and GSPN. We will have you covered for all things trade deadline this week. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast, whether you're listening on your podcast platform of choice or watching on YouTube. Make sure you check out gspn.info for all of our podcasts, Discord entry link, everything. Everything is at gspn.info. Again, make sure you're subscribed, pod random, and we will talk to you next time.